Okay, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our video recording about increasing equity in advanced placement through the use of technology. And I am so excited to introduce our three presenters today. We have three administrators from two school districts in New Jersey, Dr. John Kerrigan from Middletown Township, and Paulette Solomon and Byron Hamby from East Orange in New Jersey. So today, we're going to be talking about how to raise AP access and achievement. And as more schools move towards open enrollment, we need to make sure that all students are being supported as much as possible. So today, our presenters are going to go over their own individual experiences improving equity and outcomes with instructional technology, also how to use technology in conjunction with instructional planning to create personalized learning experiences, and how to use actionable data to drive AP instruction. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Paulette, who will get us started.
Hi, everyone. If we were in person together, I would be asking you, which of the following makes a successful AP program? And I would ask you to stand up if you think that is curriculum and resources. And I suppose many of you would stand up. Then I would say, okay, how about staffing? More of you would stand up. And how about students? And I bet that all of you would stand up because I believe that curriculum and resources, staff, and students all make for a successful AP program. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about how to raise AP access. And I have 5 ways I'd like to share with you. The first one is to offer the most in-demand courses. So in East Orange School District, we've had several AP courses over the years. But what we decided to do is to really focus on those that were in demand. So looking at our course offering and pick the ones that are most popular and can most prepare our kids for today's future. 2, offer companion courses like AP Bio and Environmental Science. They go together. That's a great way to help raise AP access. The third one is to inform your students and guardians. So in our district, we do that by spring open houses, doing presentations on our AP programs, even sending out literature prior to the selection of courses. And of course, keeping guardians and students informed throughout the whole process and throughout the whole year. Number 4, this seems like the obvious, right? Connect AP to college and career choices. Duh, Paulette. But not only making the connection that it prepares students for college and career, but also explaining to students that these courses are challenging them to think critically. And the last one is to provide tools to support AP student success. And today we will talk about a tool that both of our districts use to support AP success. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague and new friend, John Kerrigan. Go ahead, Doc.
Hi, my name is John Kerrigan. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction for the Middletown Township Public School District. I also was a AP Calculus teacher and AP Statistics teacher for a couple of years when I taught in the classroom. I oversaw advanced placement math when I was the math director for the district, and now as the Director of Curriculum Instruction, I oversee the entire AP program. I also grade for the AP Calc exam to this day, so I work with the College Board on the questions and grading and scoring and interpreting that with educators. So in our school district, we are on the Jersey Shore, where we don't pump our gas, we pump our fists. Little Jersey Shore reference there. But we're a large school district. We have 2 large suburban high schools, about 1,400 students each. While we don't have diversity in ethnicities, we do have a lot of diversity in socioeconomic status. We have areas of Middletown that are very, very, very wealthy, but then we also have a number of Title I schools in our town as well. So we span the wealth spectrum in a pretty great way in this town. And you can see here, we are predominantly white, about 94.71%, with a couple of other nationalities listed here. But yeah, right on the Jersey Shore. We have a pretty big AP program. We offer AP courses in every core content area. Basically, if there's an AP course, we probably have it. Some are more popular than others, like AP Psych, Environmental, and US Government Politics. Those are popular, especially among students who traditionally don't want to take an AP or might not be, thought of as someone who would do well in an AP course. These courses offer a really low entry point for students to come in and try it out. There's not a lot of heavy prerequisites or prior knowledge that students need to go into any one of these courses. Our test scores are good, but good is never enough for us. We always want to raise them up even more. So we turn to UWorld, which is the product I'm speaking of today, to help us in our efforts to raise our scores up from being good to being great. Prior to using UWorld and then also with using UWorld, the resources that our district use include flipped classrooms. So in math, as a former teacher and math director, a lot of our teachers were flipping the class, meaning they were giving students these instructional videos to access outside the classroom, typically through Edpuzzle or some kind of platform that hosts the video and allows the teacher to embed questions and pull some analytics from. Then class time, we have an 80-minute block every other day. Class time is used to review the content of those videos in a short 10-minute, 15-minute mini lesson with involvement from students. And then the remainder of the time is used for station work and actual hands-on experience with advanced placement types of questions and tasks and open-ended problems that might be more difficult for a student to do outside of the classroom, but better inside where they can get help from their peers and from their teacher. We also use AP Classroom. I think every AP teacher uses AP Classroom to some degree. When I was a classroom teacher, there was no AP Classroom, so I used to go and take PDFs of released tests and kind of like screenshot and cut and sort and try to figure it out the best way I could. It wasn't perfect, but this resource is now available to all teachers and it's great. But there are some limitations with that resource, right? A lot of the questions are released questions that are available online with answers online, so they're not perfect. Some also use prep books. They use like a Princeton Review or 5 Steps to a 5, which are fine, but sometimes those books also lack the appropriate rigor, whether it's too hard or not hard enough, or they might not provide answer level feedback or some of the nicer things that technology does allow for students. So we used UWorld through a grant process in our school district last year, and we moved to full implementation this year. And when we used UWorld, it was another tool in addition to AP Classroom. Some teachers used it in place of AP Classroom. Some did mostly UWorld and a little bit of AP Classroom. The implementation kind of varied by subject and teacher. But what was nice was that it was very easy for the teacher to integrate into their current structure. It wasn't seen as like an add-on or a whole new different thing to learn. It synced right up to Google Classroom. The assignments were really easy to make. They've been constantly rolling out new features and tools for teachers so that it took some of the lesson planning off of their load and gave them these nice teacher prepared resources instead. And what was really great, and I think of myself as a learner, when I was taking AP courses where maybe the teacher didn't really prep us for the course and just taught the content but not the test, I had to rely on like a prep book back before the internet, and those were kind of limited. But with UWorld, when students practice the questions given, it'll tell them if they answer it wrong, why they answered it wrong. So it won't just say the correct answer is A and here's why. It'll say you chose B, B's incorrect for these reasons. So it gave really good item level feedback, whether the choice they picked was correct or incorrect. That was really popular with students and teachers. In terms of using it in the classroom, we had a wide array of uses of UWorld. A lot of teachers use it as like a do now or a bell ringer, where the students walked in, they took out their Chromebooks, they had 2 questions, multiple choice on UWorld, and then the teachers pulled up the results and talked about them. Some people made take-home tests each time they started a unit. They build a take-home assessment on UWorld, and because these questions aren't, leaked all over the internet, the students actually had to do them and couldn't look them up, which was great. class stations if they were flipping or not flipping, and they had 1 or 2 or 3 different activities going on in the room that students had anywhere from, say, like 20 to 30 minutes to rotate through. UWorld was typically a station. Like, you're going to sit and do these 6 UWorld problems and then check them over with each other. And after a full year of using UWorld, we had gains pretty much across the board. But what we definitely saw as a huge improvement was some of those larger courses that do draw in a lot of different kinds of students that might not be your typical honor student that goes into an AP course. And US government politics was a huge one. In one of our high schools, our exam average went up from 2 to 2.52 after adding UWorld into the mix, which is pretty substantial. That was half a point on a 5-point scale. Our AP psychology scores were not that great. I didn't even want to put the number on here, but after we used UWorld, we saw a combined increase of 45%, major score gains there. We also saw a 61% increase in scores as well for AP Psych. So it was pretty remarkable increase from where we were to where we got to after using UWorld. For government and politics at our other high school, Middletown South, that also went from a 2.25 to a 2.86. So that's 0.61 points, even more than we could have hoped for. And we saw for some of the exams, like we had averages go up by, with the psychology courses by as much as 1.55 over where they were. So we went from not doing so well to getting closer or above the mean for the course, which was really, really good. I think this is the most compelling visual for us. So we had pretty decent AP scores going into the pandemic at our Title I high school. And just like everyone else, we saw the plunge during COVID. We saw the drop after 2019 and beyond. And in 2023, that was our first year using UWorld across the board. So our maths, our sciences, our social studies, our Englishes, we used UWorld for every subject available that we had. And we took our 47% of students with scores of 3 or more, that now became 64%. So we were kind of almost where we were, and UWorld helped us to get there. We added in some more PD with UWorld this year, now that we're on year 2, and some more intentional use of it, professional learning communities, more time for teachers to collaborate and share best practices. So we're confident that this bar will go even higher this May when we take our AP exams again. At our other high school, which is not a Title I high school, we did see a little bit of a drop-off again after the pandemic, and UWorld also helped us to gain some traction. We did have a couple of situations at this high school where we had our only AP teacher out on leave for an extended period of time. These were not UWorld subjects, so we think the gains by UWorld alone are greater if we took that out and mapped it on its own. But we did have 2 courses that had a substantial enrollment have a substitute for a large part of the year that were not UWorld courses. So we feel that if that didn't happen, this bar would have been even higher. But nonetheless, still an improvement. So we love it. We're excited to have it again. Teachers love it, kids love it, and it's just been a great ride with them. I'm going to turn it over to my friends over in East Orange, starting with Paulette.
Thank you, John, and congrats on your gains. And again, I'm back, Paulette Solomon, Director of Teaching and Learning and Innovative Projects in East Orange School District. Before we begin, just a little background on demographics here in East Orange School District. We have about a little under 9,000 students in our district. 81% of them are Black, not Hispanic, not Latino. We have a growing Spanish population in our district, and we have 21 schools. We have 3 high schools, and we have 1 alternative schools. So we offer 14 AP courses at all 3 of our high schools. In 2022, 2023, our enrollment was about 210, so much less than the numbers that John just shared with you. And last year, we dropped our enrollment 2023, 2024 school year down to 202 students in our courses here. And then you see the demographics on the chart here, breaking it down. The majority of our students who are taking our AP courses are Black African American students. And we do have a population of our Hispanic students and some of the other areas, minimal participation. We do have challenges, and we did have challenges in our district with regards to our AP programs and lack of consistency across the schools on teacher implementation. So at our 3 schools, we had pretty much 3 different implementations going on. One thing that was important for us is to have a monitoring tool in place. We did not have a monitoring tool to check our progress toward our AP goals. So, we waited until those results came back, and it was no surprise what our data was in the past. But now that we have a monitoring tool, and Mr. Hamby will talk a little bit about what he does a little bit later, we should have a clear understanding of how our students will do on the AP exam this year. We had varying levels of rigor. Again, each teacher at the different schools pretty much did their own implementation. I don't know about your districts, but we are still dealing with teacher vacancies since the pandemic in East Orange, and it does impact our AP and all of our programs in the districts. And we also have new teachers to teaching AP courses that may or may not have the capacity to teach it and or the support that they need to be successful. That's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hamby, and he's going to explain what he does, but we could not do what we are doing right now without Hamby. I am dubbing him our UWorld ambassador. He is over all of our AP programs, so turning it over to Byron now. Thank you.
Thank you, Paulette. I'm Byron Hamby, the supervisor of testing and compliance here in the East Orange School District. And I also work a lot and oversee our AP programs in the district. So I'm going to start off just by talking about our journey with UWorld. So, in the summer of 2022, we were looking at our AP results and we weren't seeing the progress we were looking for. And Paulette talked about some of the reasons behind that. And as a team, we decided that we needed to begin exploring some other ways we can support our AP program so we can begin to close those achievement gaps. So I want to say around the fall or winter in 2022, our team met with Dan, and 2 things that really stood out when we were looking at the product that we liked was the support it provided our students, specifically the answer explanations that they would be able to receive, the data that would provide the teachers when the students were completing the different assignments and assessments in UWorld, as well as a resource. I know just from walking through and visiting some of our AP classrooms and AP teachers, they were sometimes having trouble finding material. So it was nice for them to have, some of those sample items that are correlated with what the student would see on AP to be able to implement that in class and help the students get ready for the exam in the spring. So after we met with Dan, we decided to adopt UWorld and begin to infuse it by rolling it out to our teachers towards the end of January 2023. During that initial workshop, we showed our teachers just how to get started with the program, as well as UWorld was able to provide our teachers with some pre-created assignments that they could then begin to infuse into their classroom to help the students prepare for that final AP exam push in the spring. We also surveyed our students a month after implementation and our staff members that were using the program. And a couple things that stood out is a month into the program implementation, we were seeing over 90% of our students on UWorld at least once a week. And we saw all of our teachers that were using the program were finding those answer explanations the students were getting after responding to items to be very helpful. During the summer of 2023, we were able to meet with the UWorld team and get ready for this current year's implementation by reviewing the scope and sequence that they put together, as well with pre-created assignments aligned with that scope and sequence, and the UWorld unit assessments. This fall, we rolled out a refresher training, as well as showing the teachers how to use these resources, as well as expectations that were set by the district in collaboration with all of our department supervisors and working with UWorld on best practices for implementation. And then throughout this year, we've been monitoring usage as well as monitoring performance, which has been really helpful for us to be able to identify, what teachers or what areas we may need additional support in, and providing that support. And looking at some of our data during the 5-year trend, you can see after the pandemic in 2021, 2022, for some of our schools, scores began, we weren't getting that growth we were looking for. And then, when we implemented UWorld late winter, early spring, we began to see some gains. And right now we're looking at one of our 3 high schools. All of our high schools in the district are Title I schools. And you can see here, we started to, pick up and see more students fall into that level 3 range. I want to highlight one of our schools right here that probably had the biggest jump from 2022 to 2023. And in part, that can be contributed to one of our standout UWorld teachers here in the district, Miss Akinrambi. She's a AP biology teacher. And for her building, she probably in the district, she probably embraced this program the most and really got her students on, and the students were heavily engaged in the program. And as you can see, while we're always looking to improve, from 2021 to 2023, we saw a great gain of we went up almost 1.5 points during that time. And the feedback from the teacher was really positive, just with the support that it was giving the students, as well as the data she was able to receive, to be able to help and go back and reteach and review concepts students may have needed extra support in. And with that, I'm sorry. And then lastly, again, we did survey our students again this year. We were able to get over 100 responses from students. And you can see here that, over 80% of our students are finding those answer explanations helpful as they're reviewing. You can see here too, pretty much about over 95% of our students are on UWorld at least once a week. And we're seeing right now over half our students at this point, we're feeling prepared for the exams this spring, which is making us as a team very excited to see what type of performance we're going to get on those AP College Board reports. And with that, I'm going to hand things over to Jamie Reed.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to thank all of our presenters today for sharing their stories and their passion and commitment to making sure that both their students and their teachers are as supported as possible. Obviously, what they're doing clearly shows in the data that they have that they are making every effort possible to improve those outcomes and make sure everybody's successful. And the challenges that they talked about are not uncommon. I'm sure many of you have also experienced those things, whether it's teachers struggling to find quality resources, whether it means that it's as rigorous as it should be, or it's kept up to date, particularly if it's print materials, or instructional consistency, making sure that all teachers, no matter whether they're new or veteran teachers or new to a subject area, are consistently delivering good instruction, and that you as an administrator can really see how those teachers are doing so that you can support them if you need to, and also see early on if students are struggling or if they're going to be ready for the spring exam. And of course, supporting new teachers, we hear from pretty much everybody that we speak to that many schools are still dealing with teacher shortages, and they have a lot of new teachers that are coming into AP instruction that really need to be supported more than ever. And of course, schools and districts wanting to improve enrollment and retention in those AP courses, making sure that students know that it's available to them and know that they're going to be supported on their AP journey as well. So what we have done is we have tried our best to create and provide a program that will help address all of these challenges for you. So we created our AP courses, and these are courses that are comprehensive. They have everything that teachers need to deliver quality instruction, to provide students with adequate and realistic practice. It was all developed by AP educators. Many of our authors were former or all of our authors were former AP educators, but many of them are still AP readers and table leaders. We really use research-based methodology for providing that explanatory feedback that you heard everyone speaking about, making sure that students, while they practice, they're getting feedback on how they're doing, any misconceptions they may have, and how they can fix those misconceptions as they move forward. And of course, providing assessments and data so that teachers can make informed decisions and administrators can look at program effectiveness and college readiness early on in the school year. So we have, like I said, worked very hard to try to provide everything that teachers need, the content that they love, the success that students deserve, the data that administrators need. And I encourage all of you, if you would like more information, to please visit our website at collegereadiness.uworld.com. Or more, please reach out to us if you would like more information or would like to schedule a demo with you. Thank you all for watching, and thank you again to all of our presenters. You were fabulous, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.